telling Hanfield my spring break travel stories when I used to work.
MTV days, MTV spring break, Cancun days.
Oh, you used to
Tara Reid and Carson Daly.
I didn't film it. We would just make sure the kids don't die. That was it.
Die.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I had a blazer I was wearing.
Do you want to get your blazer?
Professional. No, I don't care.
Let's see what the blazer looks like, Kelley.
Yeah.
You know, if we went through all this thought, you know.
Get the blazer.
Where's the blazer? Girl, where'd it go?
I'm drinking pre-workout, so when this is done, I can go to the gym.
So you're all hyped up, ready to go.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, now I'm
look at that.
You're
with
pro.
shoulder pads and everything. I can't wear this.
It looks good.
Okay.
Yeah, keep it on. It looks good.
You can always take it off, you know.
It's my mom's and it's a petite and I'm like fat guy in a little coat. And bust out the shoulders.
No, none of that.
Okay.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm at my hometown for a minute. I'm sort of taking a leave of absence from the TV business right now. Just because I'm tired. I'm like burnt after freelancing for 17 years.
That's nutty.
But I do love my TV career and there's always another show in me. So eventually I will get back up on that horse and ride.
All right. Well, let's get into the whole fucking, how'd you start in there? What do you know, your childhood dream of being on camera?
Well, did you read what I wrote on the question?
Yes, I read what you wrote. And she's frozen.
Take two.
You good? Take two?
Yep.
All right. This is Open Walkie. Tony, Mr. Campfield, right over here with his pup, and Miss Kelley Beaman.
Oh, I have
DGA,
my pup too.
DGA, AD, stage manager, producer, all the things. And
yoga teacher, swim lesson instructor,
self-proclaimed ball of light.
Oh, look at that pup.
This is Pearl Jam.
What up, Pearl Jam? What up? Hey, none of that. I'm working.
As a cat. All right.
She can hear people, but she can't. She doesn't know. She doesn't know what's happening.
Yeah. This is fun. I'll go get both of my cats if you want. I'll stick them in.
Put one on each shoulder.
Yeah, put them on each shoulder. We good.
Yeah.
All right, Kelley.
Pomeranian. Okay. So,
how did we start out in this world of television?
So I moved to New York right out of college after I got my bachelor's of fine arts in theater and dance. And I worked at this entertainment temp agency and was a receptionist in post-production. And then I was an associate producer in post-production. So I did that at 2 different companies over the course of my first 2 years in New York. And then I had a day in the office where I was like, I don't want to be working in an office every day. I want to be out on set, like doing things. And so there was a production company downstairs from the post house that, you know, they were kind of interconnected. And the guy that owned it said, do you want to come, you know, intern on a feature I'm doing? And I was like, sure. And that's where I met a girl named Nadia, who was the coordinator on Celebrity Apprentice. And she randomly called me and was like, hey, do you want to work on this show? And the next day I reported to that building on 57th and on 57th and 5th. And I started out as an office PA. But there was an upset in the talent department that season and they let the talent manager go and like got rid of the PAs on a whim, and the line producer came out in the office, asked the production manager, like, who's the best looking girl in the office? And I heard them talking about me, and then the line producer comes up and she's like, hey, you come with me. We're going over to the hotel to meet the celebrities. You work in the talent department now. I was like, oh, okay.
All right,
She
Kelley,
basically
moving on up.
pulled me in on the walk across Central Park. I walked into the lobby, met Lennox Lewis and Tito Ortiz, and I worked in the talent department on that show for 2 or 3 seasons. And then I moved into the AD department, and that's where I have managed to stay for a long time, and also, work in production management at times when I take those positions.
So you just bounced around The Apprentice with a whole bunch of stuff until you found and got into the AD department, right? Because that's where I met you. I think
I met you when you were working with Plotty, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
So Plotty was my first mentor, and homie, surly guy from Boston.
Yeah,
Tony, you might know the.
I love surly guys from Boston.
Yep.
And I begged him, let me be your PA. I don't want to work on the talent team anymore. And
why didn't you like talent? Why didn't you like the talent team?
I just wanted to be more involved and closer to the cameras and the action, and you can only learn so much by getting food and coffee for celebrities year after year. So I just wanted to do something different. I didn't see myself becoming a talent manager, or, I wanted to be a director. Not really, but
doesn't everyone
I wanted to be an AD. The first feature I worked on, and I realized what the AD did, I was like, that's the job I want. No, we're not doing that.
What does an AD do? For all the people.
So an AD, in Plotty's words, you set cameras and you put people in front of them.
That's pretty
And then you do whatever the director asks for.
Right.
Or the producer.
What
associate?
All right, yeah. Sorry, man. What about that department intrigued you? You like organization?
I like organization. I like scheduling. Mm-hmm. I like to sort of know what's going on in every department, and I really like keeping people informed and sort of the go-between each department at any point in time, as far as wardrobe needs this. Okay, let's figure out how to do that in a timely fashion.
Everyone's middleman.
Yeah, everyone's middleman, keeping the 6-hour clock for meal breaks and doing that stuff. But I don't know. I just something about running a set really called to me. Something about, taking a creative breakdown and then creating, the hours of time, how we're going to do this. And it's kind of always a game of chess, especially when you have crews on a rotating schedule, and just, keeping track of everyone. I'm very nurturing. I like to know that people are taken care of. Did you eat? Are you okay? What can I do to help to set you up for success? I like setting people up for success.
I like when someone asked me if I ate.
He likes to eat. That's what we talked about earlier.
I know this.
Yeah. I like to know that.
And you can't let cameras break late. You just can't.
Well, one of the shows that we worked on together, it was I know you tried to incorporate a quick yoga session on the floor after lunch or before lunch because you became certified as a yoga instructor. But is that going to take, you think, like people doing yoga on set?
I think it's a great idea. I mean, there's no room in the schedule for any like extracurricular, we'll send out a form that's like, be concerned about your mental health, but never actually take actions during the day to make people's lives, because it's a lot. It's always 12-hour day minimum, unless you're lucky. And it's a lot of standing on your feet. For you guys, you're holding a 30-pound camera on your shoulder at times for many hours. So it is good to just move the body and get the lymph fluid flowing.
I loved it. I thought it was great. It's like even just
everyone loved it.
It lasted for what?
The executive producers.
2 or 3 days, and it was like all that stuff. It's like a little boost of like a little crew morale boost too. Everyone's just laughing and getting some shit. I think it was what was it?
Design Star.
No,
it was Battle of the Brothers.
Battle of the Brothers, a cooking show.
A cooking show.
Cooking show with the
a Food Network show.
The Voltaggio brothers.
Okay.
They were on Top Chef, I think, and Chopped or something like that a lot. But I don't think that show did anything. I don't think it kept going.
They only made a pilot.
Yeah. So
I did a pilot yesterday for the Food Network.
Did you?
I don't know if it's gonna take.
I mean, it's so many shows.
Like to me, they're sort of taking like, people that have been past contestants on Top Chef or any like cooking or Food Network star, and then they give them their own show. Yep, they're like trying to make new Bobby Flays.
Yep.
True. So
that's what
which one it takes.
In my opinion, of course.
No, that's literally what they're trying to do. I worked on one yesterday that had that premise. Last week I did 2 others that literally the same thing.
Yeah, Kelley, they're taking all the competition winners and making their own TV shows, which is good.
Is that a recipe for success?
Time will tell.
Yep. I don't know.
Yeah, so you're back in Texas now, but you were just like a traveling nomad for years. How was that like going back and forth?
Yeah, so back to my college days, because I think I kind of got cut off. When I broke my ankle, I couldn't really dance or perform for something like 6 months. So the technical director was like, well, do you want to be a stage manager? You can do that with a broken foot. And I was like, oh, yeah, maybe. And that's how I found my calling of like running, calling the show, getting the dancers on stage and calling the lighting and sound cues from the booth. That was something that I really enjoyed. So that experience kind of led me to the AD world.
Did you do that with different like not just TV, right? Didn't you do some other things with like plays or something? That's what you said?
Yeah. I mean, I was a theater major, so we do like 4 main stage plays a year and then a whole bunch of like black box theater. So I would I would stage manage all the dances, and then I would stage manage or assistant stage manage the musicals or the plays.
Yeah.
Well, a broken ankle set you on the course, and then you just got into it, basically.
Yep. And then I worked at a summer stock theater place outside of Chicago 2 summers, and I had some friends there that lived in New York that we met, at that summer stock program. So I graduated May 2005 from Texas Tech University. Get your guns up. That's, if you don't know,
I don't
know. That's what you do.
I don't know
this. At tech sporting events, it's probably not, you know.
You probably can't do that now. It's fucking 2020.
No, they still do it. Like that's the motto for
people are offended by everything.
I know. You can't win.
If you're not offended, you're not human.
Yeah, then I did that job as a stage manager in summer stock, and then September 17th, 2005, it was a Tuesday. I landed in New York City with a one-way plane ticket and 2 suitcases, and I paid $400 to sleep on my friend's couch. And I had 2 jobs by Friday. And so I worked as a receptionist during the day, and then on the weekends I worked at the Sunglass Hut on 57th Street.
It's still there, by the way.
Really expensive sunglasses to really rich people.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if people still like come up in this industry and couch surf and shit, because I did that for the first year at least when I was in New York. And I did that for like 6 months in LA too.
Yeah, I think it's like how every New Yorker starts.
I didn't do that. I had a college roommate who I was like, hey, I just got a production job. Can you move into the city like next week? I need to split rent with someone. And we found a cheap apartment in Astoria, which I still live in that neighborhood now. And luckily I just stayed just busy enough to pay my rent. So I never had to technically couch surf.
Yeah. I love couch surfing.
I used to love it. It's great.
And I mean, I've done it for like 10 years in subletting, because in 2012, I was just like, I don't think I can do another winter in New York right now after, 2005, 2012, 7 years. I was just kind of like over the New York winter. So I went to LA and worked on Bachelorette, and then I just haven't signed a lease anywhere since then. And I've done a lot of travel shows.
Yeah, I mean,
it's traveling on my own, but it's been good. I can't complain.
A lot of stories.
I got some good stories.
Yeah, exactly.
You definitely got good stories.
Not a house, but I got stories.
What's one of the best like travel stories for like going to or from a job that you can think of? Like shit shows. Anything?
I mean, well, for years, like either I would get a call and like, hey, can you be in New York by Friday? And it's like Wednesday, or vice versa, or somewhere else. And I just, drive across country in 3 days, and like halfway from LA to New York is my mom's house in Texas. So you just make a beeline for it. It's like Ducky and I have done that many times. I mean, Ducky way more than me because he's a nomad too.
Yeah.
Look at that little guy. Oh. He loves you so much.
Did you ever find
out?
Me now. Oh, he's
cut your balls off. Don't do that.
Oh, a little nooner.
Yeah, a little. It's 2:30 here. What's your route when you leave LA and go to Texas? Which way you go?
I've done a couple of different ones, but usually LA, to somewhere in Arizona or New Mexico. Like I usually try and do like a 12-hour day if I'm in the car, if I need to get somewhere. But there's been times where I've just driven straight through to my mom's, and that's like 17 hours.
Red Bull, coffee.
I don't know. I like driving in the car. Like I love road trip. I've always been a road warrior, and I just play some good tunes.
Mm-hmm.
How many times have you driven back and forth from New York to LA, you think?
I counted it up not too long ago. It was at least like 12, 13 times.
I love it. I've only done it twice, but I would love to do it again. I love being
It's a great way to see middle America.
Yeah, sure. To see not much going on over there.
All the viewers, all the audience.
Yeah. All the regular people, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I kind of appreciate small towns. Like growing up, I couldn't wait to get out of this place. But now I'm like, it's not so bad. Like the city can be very overwhelming at times.
Yeah, I mean, does its toll on a lot of people, especially
and maybe I'm just old now and have lost my edge. Where I'm like, I kind of just want to chill and lay back and take a beat.
Well, you're not old. It just, people change all the time. Everyone's mindset changes, and you never know where you're going to be even, next year. So,
but I do love my career, and especially all the people. Like I wouldn't be an open-minded person that kind of accepts people as they are, and I'm very interested in like how people live their lives differently than me, and I wouldn't have all these connections and know people of different backgrounds, ethnicity, and have an appreciation for different cultures if I wouldn't have had the journey that I've had. So I really am grateful for that.
Yes, and that's why Kelley is helping out with Open Walkie, and she's also part of our Open Walkie team. A big part.
Yeah.
Is frozen again.
Well, I love this project. I've been a super fan since the beginning. I was like, this is such a good idea. And then, as more people have done it, and I've said it before, but I want to say it again, that I just love the fact that there's people that come on the show that have worked in the industry. I've known them for 20 years. We've traveled together. We've worked together. We've been colleagues for so many years. And there's some nuance or hobby or backstory about them that I've never known. And like, it adds a whole new layer to the person that I already know. So I think that's like one of the really beautiful things about this. It's like getting to know all of the people you sort of already know or don't know in like a very different way.
Yeah. And it's just, like you said, it's just getting to know people and just seeing what they're interested in and all that stuff is that's what we're trying to do. But yeah, aside from this side hobby of what we're doing and trying to get going, you've left the industry and came back and left and came back. And it's like all the stuff.
I mean, I've been saying, I think after my first year of freelancing and I realized how slow it got, like around the holidays, like Thanksgiving, December, into January, sometimes even into March, or like, where are the gigs? Mm-hmm. I would always say I need a backup career. And so for a long time that was cooking or like going to culinary school because I like to cook and do, but I took 2 years off and went to yoga school and nannied. And
I didn't know any of this, Kelley.
Yeah, I lived at a lake house in New Jersey and nannied for these rich people and got my boat license and drove the kid around in the boat.
On lake.
And yeah, again, I just like in 2016, I was on a show in Atlanta and I needed to take a long break after that because for someone who's sort of obsessed about work when I'm working, I need periods of time to just decompress after a show or after a long run on something. And a lot of people aren't like that, but I've realized, I need breaks. But then I get the itch again where I'm like, okay, I want to go do something and, I always have another show in me, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. No, I feel.
I think a lot of people are like that though. I think I'm losing steam where I used to be able to do back to back to back to back, and then I would just try to look at the full year. Like I take it in years. Okay, I gotta do this many days this year, and now I'm just like, I said to someone the other day, someone much younger and starting out, I was like, honestly, if I just get 150 days to 200 days of a good rate, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I don't need to make $1 million, but I need to hit a benchmark and then I'm good.
Right.
For the year.
And then, the cost of living goes up so much nowadays. And it's just like, you gotta, like, it'd be nice if the shows ran longer and you had more sustainability, but like, you're always looking for your next gig, no matter where you're at.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice. Like,
and that's, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like over the years, you gain like different contacts and you work with the same people. And so, like, rotating door, I guess, in and out. I like the whole aspect where it's like you can be away from someone I haven't worked with people for like a decade, and then you work on a show with them and it's like nothing even changed. You just go see them, give them a hug. Hey, what's up?
That happened yesterday.
I love that. That's my favorite part. For a long time, there wasn't a set that I would, start day one and not know at least one person, or all the other connections. Like, oh, this person? Shut up. Like, that's my guy. And so it is very much, sort of who you know and not always what you know.
It's true.
But it's also
balance.
Yeah, it's also like, a community where if you stick around long enough, like you're saying, it doesn't matter East Coast, West Coast, 5 years, 10 years. Literally what you're describing happened to me yesterday. The director who did this pilot yesterday, I hadn't seen him in 11 years. I don't know, 2010, 2011. And I was just like, cool. And then, we went about our day and I was like, at the end of the day, he gave me a big hug. He's like, oh, it was good seeing you. And I was like, yeah, man. I was like, hopefully not in another decade.
I know, right?
I was like, I was working together in a couple of years, not like 12 years.
I think it's kind of like this industry is kind of like with, that saying where like you played with your friends, like when you were little for the last time and didn't know it. It's like, you ever hear that saying?
Yeah.
No, but now I'm depressed.
Or like your parents set you down one time and never picked you up again.
Yeah. It's like, well, you look at that. It's like, you just started playing with your like neighborhood friends one time and then you just never did it again. And like, it just went away. But I think that's kind of like this industry in like a way too, because there have been people that I thought I would work with like a lot over the years. And it's like, you work with them on this like one long show and then you literally don't see them like ever again in some spots, especially when you work on like travel shows and they happen to be like a local or something like that down there.
Mm-hmm.
And or vice versa, you go and you work as that local for a crew. It's an interesting business.
I used to call The Apprentice like reality summer camp, because it was like 300 of your besties showing up to do this little gig for a month and a half. And it felt like summer camp, where you go and you meet see all your buddies from different places, and then a couple weeks and you go on to the next.
It is. Summer camp's probably a better way to put it than how I did, but
I wasn't even criticizing what you said. What you said was great.
No, I know. I'm just
It was
saying.
it was okay. I think what Kelley said.
What Kelley what Kelley said was better.
What
It was more
Canfield
succinct.
said. Let's go with what Canfield said.
No, like Kelley said.
I'm kidding.
I used to say the same thing about Project Runway, like doing 13, 14 seasons of that. And it was always in the summer. It was always like June, July. And it was literally, everyone's
it was
like,
always September, October.
What?
Yeah. It was always September, October.
Right. Yeah.
We did that
until Thanksgiving.
We did that with Ink Master for a while. Ink Master was like, it got to the point where it was 2 seasons per year. So it ended up being like 7 months out of the year or something like that. And it was always just same times.
Yeah.
Like some was in like the spring, some was in like the fall or whatever. And it was kind of like that whole thing. Did that for 8 seasons or some shit, 9 seasons. That's crazy. What
I mean, I think we're all lucky that we've had consistent jobs like that, because I don't see too many like that now.
It's true. Or, it's not very common to like have the same crew back every season because, people change it up. They want some fresh producers. They want, they hire a different DP. So that means that he selects the camera operators. And I think that show stayed really consistent with like who they hired. Yeah. And thank God for Plotty and Fletcher. Like they were such good, and Jo, just great mentors, but also really good dudes.
Those are some of your mentors, right?
Yeah. The first day I was on Plotty's team, with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth, he's like, Beaman, go get a call sheet. And I was like, okay. And I'm standing there. And he's like, stand by me all day and watch what I do. Always have a call sheet. And those are the only instructions I got. And I learned a lot from him. I mean, he taught me how to do those meal breaks, which can get real confusing, especially when you got teams split and, people are in vans and stuff. It's a lot of just moving chess pieces around a board, only it's real life.
I think it's good. I would love for people to like get on this and then just like be okay with like mentoring somebody or whatever, like coming up, at least just to answer questions or something like that. Cause I think that would always be nice. Like, I don't think I had one specific mentor. Like, Chris Morgan taught me a lot about, like the tech aspects of everything. Other than that, I can't really think of anybody that was really like a mentor. I kind of just, grew my own wings and flew to New Hampshire.
And you soared.
Yeah.
And you're still soaring.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Yeah, I'd say something similar too. Like, I don't have one specific mentor that helped me, because I think camera gets a little competitive sometimes. Like when you're in AC, you obviously work for ops and DPs, and they might bring you from show to show. And once you started operating, then you're the competition. So you're going to have to do your own thing. It's a little more of an individual game. But I definitely make an effort to help younger ACs that I think are going to be hard workers and people I want to consistently work with.
I mean, if you see potential in someone, you should nurture and cultivate that and help them find their path.
Yeah, I'm pretty selective about it though.
Of course you are.
Yeah.
You have to, because your time is valuable, and you can't, you get what you give, and if someone isn't reciprocating, then it's not valuable to you.
Well, it's also the intent, like intention factor. It's like you find someone that may be interested in being an AC or a new AC, and then they're like, oh, I just want to do it because it pays more, or I just want to hold a camera because it looks cool. And I'm like, bye. Like, I'm not teaching you a goddamn thing, and I'll never hire you.
Well, yeah,
it's not a popular, like, it's not just to look cool and get clout or whatever the kids are saying these days, but it is a hard job to be crew on a TV show. You have to earn your stripes in the camera department. You know, you guys, no offense, but you can be a little snobby to the newbies.
Right.
But you know, that's how you guys that's how you were treated, you know. It is very much like your ego does get in the way because you don't want people that you've helped taking your income. You know, like,
I mean, it's like there's
sort of a gray area at times, but
gray area in some ways. But
it's also important.
I always like to see like
turn around and help people.
Yeah, you can't do anything about it. It's like people are gonna move up how they can with the skills that they have, and it's like
undercut your rate.
Great for them, but
all kinds of stuff.
But it's a weird industry in that case. But it's like, I think it's just that when people actually, like, you know, work together and don't try to like jump over each other, then that's a thing, you know.
It is a competitive industry because you know, our time is valuable. We put a lot into our work. Our careers are important to us. But that being said, you also got to turn around and help the younger generation. Like, if I wouldn't have had people like Plotty and Jo who forgave me when I made a mistake, didn't ever let me forget about it, but forgave me for it, and, you know, cultivated me being successful, like, I wouldn't have gotten into the DGA at 30 years old. I wouldn't have been able to, you know, work in an industry where, you know, if you're on a union show, the rate is pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
that's why you join a union in a sense, is to get taken care of. But yeah,
I'm almost it's my 15th year in local 600 in the summer.
Wow.
I'll get my 15th year. Yeah.
Good for
you.
And
then you guys have to get X amount of hours to get your health care, right?
Yeah. It's Cinematographer Guild is a little bit different than the DGA. It's 400 hours every 6 months. And I think you guys work on a money system, right?
Yeah, you have to make a minimum of, like, I think it's 35 within a fiscal year to get your healthcare, to qualify to get your healthcare, which is not a huge amount of money, but if you only do 1 or 2 DGA shows, you're not gonna meet the criteria.
Yeah, I run into similar issues. Like, I don't do as many union productions as I used to, just because of it, like availability of what's around. And once you don't qualify, it's like a little bit harder to click back into it. But in theory, I would love to only do union work. If the rates were always good and they always gave me health insurance and, you know, a pension plan.
Yeah.
But
well, that's the problem with union reality, like unscripted stuff, because there's not enough of them to go around. So that's when it gets really like aggressive, in a sense where it's like most people will take a shittier rate just to get the hours on there from a union job in unscripted. And so that's where it gets a little bit like, you know, you get a call for that. Okay, you got to take that because you need your hours. But
yeah,
and it could be different, but everything could be different.
It's all kind of, you know, what niche you're in too. You know, I've been in the same fishbowl of reality TV for a while, so like I don't really get calls for features that often. But that's just, freelancing is tricky that way. You got to kind of take what comes along, but also, you know, think forward about, okay, can I do enough shows to get my health care? It's very be strategic about it at times. And unfortunately, sometimes you do have to jump ship on a non-union show to go take a union show because that's healthcare.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the difference between you getting your healthcare and not getting it. And I think, there's not always a lot of loyalty from like the production companies to the freelancers or vice versa. Which is unfortunate, but that's just kind of the way the industry is.
Yeah.
I guess.
I mean, it's, everything has its ups and downs, but like, it is, I look back after being like kind of removed from it for a little bit. It's, that you look back, it's actually really fun industry because of all the changes you have. So if you're somebody that likes change, I mean, it's definitely a good thing to get into because it's, something could not be the best show or for a couple weeks and you're like, fuck it, because next time you might go on something that's super fun. And, we've all been there where it's like some shows are hell and some shows are fun. But Kel, what are some of the like the most fun shows that you've worked on?
I would say most recently a love and hip hop show in Jamaica. And it's just like one of the spin-offs of the Love and Hip Hop franchise on VH1, but like the crew always makes the show fun because you become such a family when you're on the same resort, you're working the same hours, it's impossible for me on a travel show or anyone to just like go to my hotel room and go to bed. Like once I send the call sheet out, I want to like socialize, and everyone else does too after a long day, just to decompress and wash off like the energy of the day. So I think that's my favorite part is on any travel show, the camaraderie with the crew and just being able to like people become your family in such a short amount of time. Yeah. I feel like
you spend so much time together in especially in your own department.
It's a process.
Yeah.
Creating something, making it work by, the skin of our teeth and the seat of our pants. And then it's over and you're like, done.
That's it.
The chaos, what did I put on my sheet? I was like, it's always fun to have a chaotic, cathartic process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, because it's when you're in the heat of things, it's people get their emotions going, people get angry, all this stuff, but it's one of those things you have to like be able to snap back out of it right away. It's like you can't let things just get to you and take things personal because fuck it, we all fuck up. People do some shit. You just gotta roll with it and then move on, and then somebody else is gonna fuck up. I mean, that's just whatever. Everything happens.
And you always blame the AD anyway.
Yeah. Wow.
We gotta blame.
And also,
you didn't plan it good.
And our department is also under a microscope because we send out the schedule where it's in writing if we make a mistake that's distributed to the whole show.
What's one of the worst complaints you've gotten from sending out like a mistake on a call sheet? Has there anything been like really bad?
I got blasted in an email once because I made a typo in one of the host call times. It was only 15 minutes off and he was ready on, but the line producer sent an email to the first AD and the executives and the director highlighting my simple typo that I made once in 4 shows.
Yeah. See, that's
and
That's fucked up.
That's
the call sheet can be very overwhelming. It's something that I've developed a skill at doing it quickly, but you know, it's a lot of information in little boxes, and when you stare at it all day long, you don't catch all the mistakes, and that's why I bring it to the line producer, the executives, the director. I make sure every department head sees their call times and their crew, but some people just don't read it, and so the checks and balances don't happen, or they just see the mistake and don't correct me and then let me fry.
Oh, then I
but at the end of the day, it's just a piece of paper too. So again, like keeping it in perspective that it is just make believe.
I always felt bad for like some ADs where you spend all day making corrections on on this call sheet, and then you're fucking done, and then it all changes.
You're just waiting for approval. You got the email ready, you got all the email addresses in there. You're like, just need to hit send. And then they rearrange the whole day, and you have to do 4 hours of work in 2 hours. And everyone's like, where's the call sheet? Where's the schedule? Where's the call sheet? It's like, I lose 5 minutes every time you ask me that. Every time anyone asks me that, it's another 5-minute delay on this thing getting out.
Yeah.
But I get it too. Like people, I want to get you the information, but when it changes at the last,
you just want to know when to go to sleep or when we can have our last beer.
I know.
The thing is,
and then you start doing like, okay, if I go to bed now, I have a 6 a.m. call time. I can get 4 hours of sleep. That'll be enough.
Right. Yeah.
And then the next day you're like,
yeah,
I should have gone to bed.
I will say this. I always appreciate a good AD department, because when you get on a job that doesn't even have an AD department and you have production, just the production manager or coordinator sending out a call sheet, those are the ones where I see the schedule and I'm like, I'm not even looking at it because it's not going to be right. It's not going to be organized. It's going to change in 5 minutes. So I really appreciate ADs and that department, because it directly affects what camera's doing.
Yeah.
Obviously what other departments are doing too, but and then
I mean, everyone should know their schedule. Like any other job, you kind of show up and, rinse and repeat, but like every day is different. There's a new set of criteria or things you want to get done. And, O'Malley and I were on a good run together because as I've gotten older, I prefer to do the call sheet and be the second AD because it's something I can execute. I don't really have to listen to the PL as far as like directive. And I like socializing with all the different department people. Like I really love people in the art department. I love talking to the wardrobe people. I like to create the vision board of tomorrow rather than run today and like tell people, you should have done this 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Where's the camera? Where's the camera? I need the camera. Get the person in the camera and let's go.
That's a good distinction between a first and second idea. I never heard it put that way, actually. It's like you're worried about tomorrow. The first idea is worrying about like right now.
And
like 5 minutes later. Yeah.
And then the second, whose role is like pretty much obsolete. You usually get a PA instead of like hiring an actual second, is doing the PRs for yesterday. So it's like past, present, future.
Yeah, give a little rundown for people who have no clue what an AD does in the whole stages of the AD department, if you can.
I wish I had my little whiteboard.
Just like brief.
Okay, class, gather round.
Yeah.
So it's all the directing department. There's the director up here. And then
they're up here.
They're up here.
What is this? They're like in an eggplant?
It was like a little box. I'm gonna do a little family tree here. So director, and then you have the first AD who has the director in the ear, is running the floor, setting cameras, getting talent there, taking notes on what delays happen, why they happen, and then calling action. So it's not always the director. In films, the director does sometimes, but usually the first AD is the person telling the actors in camera, like, action, cut, get out of the frame.
They're the people you see, opposed to somebody in a control room or.
It's nice. Messed up.
Nice.
I was trying to help you out.
I usually have a little like chalk thing here, but I don't. Anyway, and then the second AD is taking the creative for the next shooting day and creating what's called the call sheet, which is like the master schedule for each day that gets sent out to the crew. So they know when to start, has all the department's information on there, basically has everything you need to know about a shoot day. And the second AD is always working on the next day and getting that prepped and making sure production, all the peripheral stuff. What if we need porta-johns dropped on location, where those are going, what time they're being delivered, if we have vehicles coming to set, who's driving them, where they get staged at, like all the sort of peripheral organization that happens outside of cameras rolling on set. And then it's the second AD's job to make sure the information is as close to correct as you can get it. And there's been many times where people are like, oh, it doesn't matter, just put whatever. And I'm like, I would like this paper to be as correct as possible when I send it out. So if you could just give me the information, that would be great.
Yeah, and I'm sure you say it that nice and polite too.
Well, I mean, bitches get shit done. Let's just be real about that.
Damn.
And you guys have all seen me via BI. TCH.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's seen all of us. Everyone's had their moments on set. But
it comes from a place of caring.
Yeah.
And if my name is on a project, I want everyone to look good.
I think that's such great advice too. It's like if your name's on it, it's like you gotta think about it. It's like do your best, and that's it. Sometimes it runs away from you, but it is always nice to just look back and take a breath for a second, and it's like, this is actually not bad,
But I mean, obviously it can get frustrating when you're seeking information and it's like you get air vapors and you're like, I need a little more, or just the correct information.
Have you gotten more patient over time with dealing with situations?
I laugh at a lot of things more, like, it is what it is. I'll just wait until there's a decision made, because but yeah, and always, you got to make light of it. O'Malley is really great at that, like just laughing off the minor inconveniences that happen, or like the misinformation, like, wardrobe told me this. And I'm like, well, maybe you shouldn't listen to the wardrobe girl because she's not running the set right now.
Hopefully we can get Aaron O'Malley.
There is what is it? The little telephone chain that you do.
Yeah.
My favorite thing, my absolute favorite thing, and this is not being sarcastic, I find it really entertaining, is, I'm usually backstage somewhere sitting at my computer, typing this document up as fast as I can. And I always love having like a gaggle of people somewhere talking about tomorrow's schedule, like in earshot of me. And I'm like, that's not right. That's not right. That's
Like,
not what we're doing.
You guys like they know the answers, or they're gonna go tell you the answers,
or they're trying to figure it out based off the prelim that's been completely shifted the moment I sent it out. Just those little things I find really hilarious. And I think early on in my career, I'm like, you guys don't know what you're talking about.
Oh shit.
I mean, just that insecurity of like,
you're being protective.
Like I know the information, you guys are wrong, but that now I'm just like, whatever. Talk about it, be wrong. I'm not like, I have less of an ego about whether I'm right or wrong.
Yeah. I think that's where a lot of people grow in the same way. It's like, when you're younger, it's like, it's a whole different thing. You're a different person.
Yeah. And you're learning.
I'm never growing up. Leave me alone.
And I always, I don't always get, best personality.
Yeah, no AD gets best personality.
No, I don't think so.
No second AD.
And another thing I find really entertaining is because, let's be real, the entertainment industry is very much at times, not so much anymore, but in my experience, a boys club sometimes. And the AD, like a lot of first ADs are male because they have that presence. So it's really entertaining when I'm working with like new crew members, like grips or lightings, like old boys. And they're like, who are you? Why are you telling me what to do? It's like, oh, they're paying me to do that.
Yeah, it's my job today.
This is what you get. I'm showing up doing my job. Hate me or love me. Let's just get the show done.
One of my all-time favorite ADs, she directs now, but Anna, Swedish Anna.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She was Anna.
Yeah, she was one of my all-time favorite first ADs. Again, she's a director now, so I don't want to say she still does that. But I just remember a bunch of seasons on Runway. She was just like, by the book, like just slamming it out. Like I like to see her yell at people if they're in the wrong place, telling people to hustle. Grabbing the set.
I loved watching her on Project Runway when I was the crafty PA. Way back when I'd always like make sure I was filling up the crafty so I could listen to her crew meeting in the morning. Like she'd be like, okay, you guys go here. We're going to do this. And she was just sharp on it. No, like did not take any bullshit.
Yeah, that's impressive.
I think the funny thing about this
strong woman, very strong woman,
is the different shows that like have been on for so long, like Celebrity Apprentice and Runway and just those type of shows that have been like season after season after season, because a lot of the people you talk to have worked on those shows at one point or another, whether it be like a PA because it's been around for so long, and then maybe even down the line they work as a camera op on that. It's like it's kind of interesting because everyone has a different perspective on that specific show at a different moment in time. It's like it could have been 5 years before I did it, and it's a completely different show from there. It was run completely different, and but yet it's the same format of a show, basically consistently throughout, almost a decade on some of them.
I mean, there is a formula, especially like competition shows have, the setup, and then I'll just use like Food Network Star, the quick fire challenge, and then the taste, there's always a taste, and then there's always a judgment or elimination. Like those things are always the formula, I guess.
Yeah. So yeah, it doesn't, they don't switch too much, but behind the scenes it switches a lot, I feel, on a lot of those shows.
It does. And one of the things that brings me the utmost amount of joy these days is watching people who are younger than me, or even, around the same age, like, be nominated for a DGA award, or Kadeen, who won an Emmy. I was like, oh my God, my friend won an Emmy. Like, I was so happy for her and not jealous that it wasn't me. I really appreciate seeing people succeed, and I cheer for them, because I don't really feel like I need like some big successful event in my life to feel valuable at this point. But I really do love watching people grow into like what their journey is supposed to be, especially, Gracelyn, right? Gracelyn Woods.
Mm-hmm.
She used to be Anna's second.
Yep.
Second. Anyway, I've worked with Gracelyn, and I love her. Another strong, bold, beautiful, like, just doesn't, has a hard line, can be funny and charismatic and, jokingly, but there's definitely a point where the AD has to be a little stern, and like, just not stern, but assertive is a better word.
Yeah, I think we mentioned this before with somebody else we spoke with, but about how people, like, don't look at the person for the job that they have at the time, because like that PA that someone will, like, give a lot of shit to might end up like running a show in a few years or whatever, because everyone has different skills and you don't know about them. And that's why, like, knowing about people and bringing it out is actually nice, because you never know who you're actually standing next to. It's like that person might have all this other shit and they just happen to work as this specific job on this specific show, but they could be off doing some huge things that you just look at them and like, oh, they're PA-ing on this, but they could be just doing whatever. And that's the thing with this. Everyone's always doing something kind of different outside of what they're doing on that show.
And once you're done with one job, you go one direction, someone else goes another direction.
Yeah.
And like we were talking about earlier, it's like you might not see someone for 5 or 10 years, and they might be doing something completely different, or they might be doing the same thing. But yeah,
a perfect example of that is Gracelyn had me on Flea Market Flip, I think, is like a day player. And I show up and like, I don't really know the show. I'm like, just tell me what you need me to do. And the producing team was Zoe and this other guy. And like, I knew Zoe from she worked in the talent team on Apprentice. And then this other kid was like a PA on another show I'd done. And they were my producing team. I'm like, thank God you guys are here. Also, I'm so proud of you that you've grown up into these roles. Just tell me what to do.
Yeah.
I'm your underling today. This is fun. I like it. And, it's nice to be like, oh my gosh, you're above me on the call sheet now. And I love that for you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I like just seeing people's stories play out, I guess, and them stepping into roles that, they've either always wanted, or that's where their path is led and they're successful at it. Like that brings me a lot of joy as I get older to see, people grow up.
That's why it's like on this, it's like there's no one single path that you can take anywhere. So it's like, it's always nice to see where people came from, moving up in this place, up in this industry, and then just to see where they can go. And it's like, it's a never ending, it's not like one top of the ladder. You can go in many different facets of this industry, like however you want to, put your time into it. But yeah, so you're going more of like the part-time TV, and moving on to getting 50 chickens.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
So when on all those trips across country, sometimes I would do them, with Ducky, who you guys know as camera op, just to give you some context. But we traveled and lived together for a long time, 10 years or something. But
10 years or
we would always.
It's a decade.
It's a decade.
A quick decade.
We drove across country several times together. Mm-hmm. And have vacationed many different places together, and it was fun. We had a very good run. And we'll go on vacation again sometime. But we used to play this game in the car when we were bored, like top 3 places you would buy a house if money wasn't an option. And I've always said my number one since I was in high school that I want a piece of land in Colorado. I want to have a cabin and a barn that is, made into an art space that, painting, pottery, crocheting. You guys see this?
Yeah.
This is my current crochet project.
Little headpiece.
I'll give you $1 if you can figure out what it is.
It's a hat?
It's a hat, but it's also an animal.
That's a peacock. I don't know.
There's 8 of these.
Oh, it's an octopus.
Suckers. And this is a tentacle.
Just gave away the biggest hint ever.
Yeah, you gave it away.
Yeah. Anyway, the farm, bunch of chickens, all that stuff, working part-time.
In a greenhouse, and then 50 chickens, and I'm going to name them after all 50 states. So Phoenix, not Phoenix, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas.
I can't wait to come over and watch you try to name each one of them and pick them out and have them all with their little things, unless you get a little tag their feather with
I'm going to ear tag them like cattle.
State. Yeah.
Tag their ankles.
That sucks.
I could give them a little chicken bracelet on their foot with their name.
And the biggest one is Texas. That's it.
Yeah, that's going to be one of those fluffy ones with like the fluff around the head. Have you seen those chickens?
You got to pick that one out like special. That's like a special order.
Yeah. And then also like a little animal rescue barn stalls. I don't know. I just
is that like
want to get lost in the woods on purpose and like have my own artist compound.
Is that like your retirement plan? Like your dream?
I've been saying for a long time that when I'm going to get a cabin in Colorado with some land, and that's going to be my retirement place. So I don't know. Also, just a nice, cool place for my nieces to come and hang out and be outside, float a river, hike a mountain, have a greenhouse. I also want to have like a couple of other buildings on the property, like a tree house that you can go up in and meditate to get high in the tree house.
Look at you. Put a lot of thought into this.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then I have a vision board. I'll email you my vision board for it. And then one other house that's like an A-frame, like generic cabin in the woods, and that would be a sound studio, and it would be the rock house. But I would also put all the rocks that I gather from nature in there.
All right, so Kelley's going to go and make a vision board, and we're going to post it on the website that she's coming up with.
Yeah, we have
Open Walkie that we're going to have soon. But we're going to end this soon. Canfield, do you have any final thoughts for Kelley?
I like the picture she just painted. That was very nice.
Sweet.
Yeah. I think I learned a lot about you today. I think that was pretty cool. I didn't know all your extracurriculars. I know all your hobbies. I didn't know your
all my passion projects.
All your passion projects. I'll visit you in Colorado.
Oh, I'm also really into making the flower of life paintings too. Like
I don't know what that
it's
means.
called sacred geometry.
You gotta get up with your spiritual stuff.
Maybe it looks better this
I know, man. Well, we can have a separate side.
Yeah, we'll sidebar.
That can be one of the round table discussions.
Yeah.
Spirituality and working in TV.
Me and Kelley will start talking about spiritual shit, and Campbell just go to the bathroom and never come back.
Yeah.
Sorry, you gotta go.
Now my pre-workout's starting to kick in, guys.
You're like, I gotta go to the gym now.
Kelley, leave us with some advice for people coming up in the industry, and then we'll get out of here.
I think the advice I would give my younger self would be, I had it earlier and now I'm blanking, but
don't drink.
To trust your instincts more and follow through when people are interested or like give you an opportunity and you kind of just let it fall to the wayside. You're like, I don't have time. I don't want to do that. Follow through on those human connections. Cause like you guys said, you never know 10 years down the road, that person could be directing a Netflix series and they think of you. And I mean, I do it when I hire people, like I think who will fit best in this role and will it also be a stepping stone for them?
Yeah.
So trust your instincts and follow through on those stepping stones and connections now that you don't know the future of where that would go, but it's important to, and I wasn't good at this in my youth, but to really not be so offended when people want to help you and like give you advice. And to not take everything personally, because it really is, if you're not hired for a gig, it's really hardly ever to do with your personality or that you're not a good person. It's just you weren't a good fit for that job at that time. But it doesn't mean that that person doesn't see another opportunity for you somewhere else in the future. So my advice would be trust your instincts, make connections, and, see everything as a stepping stone and a way to get to where you're going or where you want to go.
I love it.
Like that. Yeah.
And for the love of God, find a work-life balance early on.
Yeah.
That's hard when you're coming up, but that's
it is. But it's necessary because there are a lot of people, and myself included, that you work, and then you come to a point where, forced vacation, or you just don't have a gig, or you have a gap and, where you're not doing anything, and you start to like get to a place mentally where you think you're not good enough because all your value is tied around whether or not you're making money or you're on a show or it's cool. So take time for yourself and don't burn out so early.
Yeah.
Like I did.
It's all balance. I'm gonna summarize what you just said. You said community. You said balance. What else? What else did you say? Those are like
that's it. Community.
Cultivate your hobbies. Too. Like
take advantage of your time off.
About doing and you just kind of keep stalling on it. Just what do you say all the time? Just start with one thing, Tony. Start with one thing you can do today. Because if you keep thinking about something over and over that you want to do, like that's your intuition calling you to do something. That's your higher self pushing you in a direction. So follow your instinct. Yeah.
Baby steps get you somewhere, you know? You're going forward, so whatever. But with that, Kel, thank you. Beautiful guest.
Hey, thanks for having me. Canfield, it's so good to see you.
You too. It's been so long. Yeah.
I know.
Well, you guys will see each other more because, you know, it's all part of the Open Walkie team.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So is that my out? Because now I have some business things.
Let's
cut and talk business.
Cut.
All right.
Wait.